Hello everyone, it's good to be back. This is Abimbola Kiumi, Ileokoya on Now That You're Married. Today, I want us to settle down even as we share this together. We want to look at a topic that is the commonest of issues in marriages today. It is called infidelity, unfaithfulness, extramarital affairs. I know many of you would have jumped and said, yes, that is it, and we finally got to it. I want us to analyze it and see how it creeps into marriages, and then what guard we need to raise in order to ensure that we're not caught off guard. I've defined infidelity as a spouse having extramarital affair, that is, having an affair with somebody else outside of your spouse. When you talk about fraud in business, it gives you an idea of what infidelity is. Choosing to go outside the norm, choosing to go outside the expected, choosing to go beyond what is considered fair. Fairness is totally eroded in infidelity. Many people go into this without actually planning for it. So when you find anybody involved in infidelity, it may not be the initial desire of that person, because the person was not conscious enough of people around him or her. Such a fellow can easily fall into infidelity. I want us to break it into two. There is one that is not so common. People don't pay attention to it, but it's as deadly as the one we all think about. When you talk about infidelity, what readily comes to mind is, okay, a spouse having a sexual relationship with somebody else outside his home or her home. That's not it. There is one that is called emotional infidelity. What does that mean? When a spouse takes solace in another person outside the home, when you find a shoulder to cry upon, so to say, outside your home, that is emotional infidelity. The reason why it has to be avoided is because 99% of the time, emotional infidelity always leads to physical infidelity. Let me play a scenario for you. A man is having a problem in his marriage, and then there's somebody else, either married or unmarried, that is either a colleague or someone in the neighborhood that they've always greeted and even talked, and then that person just notice it. What's happening? You are looking dull. Said, don't worry. Eventually, they begin to talk. And then before you know it, the person is becoming like a confidant, because, it's like a shoulder to cry upon. And said, why is she doing that? Especially when that person begins to speak what you actually desire to hear. You never can tell what is going on in the mind of the other person. You can only talk for yourself. It could happen to a man, it could happen to a woman. A woman that is having issue in her marriage and has a colleague that is either married or not, that noticed that she wasn't looking too fine on a beautiful day, and then begins to make inquiry, and then maybe she couldn't even control her emotions, and then she begins to cry, and man says, no, that's not the end of life. Let me take you out. You need a good lunch. In all innocence, they begin to communicate. And before you know it, when you have a man and a woman, the third party is always the devil. Before you know it, one thing will lead to another, and then the emotional infidelity will eventually mature to become a physical or sexual infidelity. A lot of times, people involved in extramarital affairs might have been good people even in their homes. Good, loving spouse. Tender-hearted, caring spouse. But because of one challenge or the other, this spouse might just wanted someone to share with what is going on. And because we're humans, let's make an assumption of a woman that is being stabbed sexually by her husband. And it began to worry her, and then she eventually opened up to a man, a colleague, that she even probably knows the wife of the man. And they get talking. This is what has been said, this is not nice. You have to talk to him. And then you never can tell who will be taking undue advantage of the situation. It can even be the person that is going through the challenge in the marriage that would indirectly or subconsciously lure the other fellow into having extramarital sexual affair. I'm taking time to tell you all of this so that you don't tell yourself, no, it can never happen to me. What you should say is that it should never happen, because you never can tell. This flesh will remain flesh. Now, if it happens, what are you going to do? Are you going to walk out of your marriage? Are you going to say, this is it? I've had people say several times that once I catch my spouse having an affair, that's it, I'm out of this. But the question is it worth it? If you don't want to think about yourself, what about the children in the marriage? How are you going to explain to them? Do you plan to run down your spouse in the presence of the children you both have together? No, I don't expect you to do that. Because I know that firstly, separation or divorce is not a solution to it. If you divorce this person and then you end up marrying somebody else and it happens again, are you going to divorce the person and marry a third person? Because it's so easy to jump to conclusion to say, no, never, I can never ever share my man. I can never ever share my woman. But when it happens, then the reality of it presents itself in a very different perspective. Divorce is not a solution. The first thing you need to do is to settle down to it, accept it that it has happened. This is an error and it has happened. What is the way forward? Make up your mind, get help. You need to, don't bottle it up. Because if you are not careful, it can lead to depression. Get help. When I say get help, I'm not saying go and cry to your parents. I'm not saying cry out to your friends. I'm not saying tell relations. Get professional help. Seek the counsel of marriage counselors. People that have seen it all. They'll be able to guide you to it. It's not something that one gets over at the snap of the finger. It's a gradual thing. Just know it that you can weather through. And don't pretend that it never happened. Don't lock it at the back of your mind and say, may I tell you, if you don't treat it or deal with it now, if you make an assumption that it never happened, 20 years into your marriage, it will still come back to you. And then it will come as if it's freshly happened. That's why you need to deal with it. And how do you deal with it? I've told you, number one, seek professional help. Take time to talk about it. Talk about it. And this is Africa. Yes, it's Africa, and we cannot take that out of us. Sometimes the guilty spouse is not even willing to apologize. It's not remorseful. The guilty spouse may not even be willing to stop. And that is when forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness doesn't have to be deserved by the head spouse. Forgiveness is a gift from the person that is offended. So what am I trying to tell you? Whether the offending spouse is ready to accept it and apologize, or is brazen up to say, what is it? Whatever you want to do, I'm even tired already. Whether the person is willing to apologize or not, you, as the offended spouse, must be ready to forgive. Why do you have to forgive? You have to forgive because you need your peace. You have to forgive because, as I've often said, your marriage is worth fighting for. Out there are many people that are ready to take your place, either a man or a woman. Yes. You are complaining this man is not good enough, this woman is not good enough. There are 1,001 people out there that are ready to take your place. It might be for a short time. You think you're enjoying it, okay, yes. But on the long run, you'll discover that you'll be paying more for it. So your marriage is worth fighting for. Somebody is asking you to shift on your matrimonial seat, and you are willingly walking away from it. Of course, the person will come and sit properly. Is that what you want? I know it's painful. I know you can be bitter about it. It's natural to feel that way. That's why I'm saying express it. Express it. Tell him, tell her, I'm so disappointed. You have betrayed my trust. You have disappointed me. After, say it out, say it out. If you need to cry, cry. But after it all, pick it up. Pick up the pieces of your marriage and begin to mend it. Begin to put it together again. Don't be quick to tell your friends. Don't be quick to tell your family members, because after you might have settled it, they may never be able to forgive your spouse. And that's why you have to take if you need to tell anybody, make sure you are telling a professional marriage counselor, somebody that can actually help you. Now let me take you through a similarly difficult track. Let's play back the scenario. You finally found out that your spouse has been cheating on you. And then instead of the usual expected ranting, crying, throwing things, and you choose to just go mute about it. And then you're staring, just looking at the person and smiling. The first thing that would happen is your spouse will become very, very afraid. I don't know what is going on in the mind of this person. Is this person going to kill me? Is this person going to do something? Or is this person planning to retaliate? After keeping mute, you go to the next level and say, come, you think I don't know? I know. But can you tell me why you have done that? And you'll find out that your spouse may not be able to tell you the totality of it, but that spouse will open up because you're already encouraging the person that, see, let's talk about it. And then you can follow it up by letting them say, whatever happens, this marriage will stand. I'm not going to let go. So if there's anybody anywhere that is thinking he or she can get into this, affirm, as you're saying it, you are giving yourself more confidence in that marriage. I'm not going to let go. This marriage will work. And eventually it will become a laughing thing. Tell me what the person has done. How did the person do and why not they doing for here? Or God, what thing happened? It might sound stupid. People will call you foolish. But on the long run, you're going to gain it back. Because your confidence will return in your spouse. It will take time. I know it will take the time it will take. It's only you that will decide that, because it depends on how quickly you allow your heart to heal. But make up your mind, this is going to become a thing of the past. Begin to love your spouse back. We are Africans, I'm telling you again. Okay, what's the worst scenario? There's a child involved. Very painful, disheartening, shocking. But is it bad enough to take away the joy of your children, even if you don't want that home? Is it strong enough to take away the joy your children are enjoying by having their parents train them together? I want to encourage you, it's not the end of life. It's not a good thing to happen, but when it does, don't walk out of your marriage. Forgiveness isn't meant for the unfaithful. It is a gift the betrayed spouse gives to himself or herself. Make up your mind. You will give yourself this gift of forgiving your spouse. Let it go. Let it go. Let your heart begin to heal. Because you never can tell, that spouse might just have a turn. That might be the turning point that his life has been waiting for. And then your love begins to grow again. Think about it. That marriage can work. That's our desire, that as many as are married should please stay married. Thank you for your time. Send in your question. I'm waiting to hear from you. You'll find different media through which you can get across to us. Send in your mail. Put a call through. Let's share this experience together. And I know that even as you do that, your heart will begin to heal. Thank you very much for your time. I remain Abimbola Kiumi, Ileokoya, on Now That You're Married.